Hey guys, it's Scott. And we're back with another 2023 Kentucky Derby video. And in this video, we're going to take a look at the points leaderboard. And we're going to talk about some of these main contenders that we can go and eliminate from win consideration the Kentucky Derby. And I'm going to stick with mainly just some of the top horses. I'm not going to get really all the way down into, some of these other horses like this. There's one I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But, people are going to, eliminate a lot of these horses down here lower on the leaderboard anyways. And even, some of these are going to getting like take a horse like Cyclone Mischief. If he gets in the Derby, not a lot of people is gonna, probably try to put him in the win spot for betting. So, we're not even gonna bother to, worry about that. But we need to talk about like these top 7 or 8 horses that we can eliminate. You got a very group of solid horses. There's not really one standout, but each horse has its strengths, weaknesses, and it's I'm gonna try to do my best to take a non-biased look at each of these horses and try my best to eliminate what I can. And the horses we're going to start about is number 5 on the leaderboard, and that's Two Fields. And Two Fields is actually a solid horse. He's well deserving to be up there where he is. His best one came in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. That was on synthetic. Besides that, he got third in the Rhythm Star. But you go back and watch that race. He did have first at one point in the stretch. Turner for home. So excuse me. So this horse, can obviously, he can come with a late run, and then in the Lecomte Stakes, he ran a very good second in that race. And his first start in Major Stakes Cup, he didn't really do that great, got seventh. But other than that, he's always came in the money, and technically he has the highest buyer of all the horses, out of this race for the Derby. So you do have that going for him. If you want to bet that angle where highest buyer wins, then this certainly can get great value on a horse like this. Not every day that you get to see a horse with the highest buyer, probably go off as the sixth, seventh, eighth choice in the race. Both sides that he's going to be a closer, and I don't think the pace in the Derby is really going to set up for a horse. That's going to be a closer. Like Forte is not really known for forward speed. Same Practical Move, Angel Empire. Tapit tries just has some issues. Getting up there. He always seems to come with a late run. Same Two Fields is the closer. Lord Miles is the closer. You probably got to get down here to Dermisota Gake, and he only ran on the lead in the UAE Derby. He's still got to prove that that's what he wants to do. So he could easily not, run on the lead and get back to more of a mid pack. And then you got King's Barn. That's probably the first real true, speed on this list. So, there's not a lot of speed side on. So I don't like how the pace is going to flow for Two Fields. You take it with this race in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. I still think he's a cut, below some of the other ones. Like, he lost to Angel Empire in the Risen Star Stakes, and the distance only going to get, further in the race. And then, he lost in the Lecomte Stakes. And because of that, I just don't think. I think he's solid, but I still think he's a cut or two below, some of these main contenders. So, given that I see the pace going against him, and some of the other horses have already, beaten him, except him run on synthetic when he didn't really face much. I'm going to personally play against him in the, Kentucky Derby, and the second horse is going to be actually number 2 on the list, and that's Practical Move. And Practical Move was under Bob Baffert. Then he got switched to Tim Yaktine to get his Derby points. As everybody knows, Baffert's been basically banned from Kentucky until I believe it's next year where he's allowed to start again. If I'm wrong, please correct me on that. But if it's not next year, I think it'll be the year after. He looked really good winning the San Felipe. There's some stuff to like about this horse. I do like how he can sit there on the inside of horses, riding the rail, and he doesn't look uncomfortable down there. He'll bide his time, and then when he finds that opening, he'll make his move. He looks very professional. One thing I don't like is that his sire is, Practical Joke. And if you remember Practical Joke, that horse, when it came to one-turn races, was a beast. But when it came out to two-turn races, the horse, he didn't really do so. I don't think he ever won a two-turn race in his career, but was undefeated at one turn. So, I do got to wonder about a little bit of distance, concerns. And, the Santa Anita Derby, if the wire was another 10 feet, he would have easily, lost to Mandarin Hero in that race. So, for that reason, it's going to be hard for me to bet him when the distance gets further. That wasn't in my opinion, the greatest performance in the Santa Anita Derby. So, that being said, if the race was at a shorter distance, like more of a mile and 16th, I would certainly put him in there. But I personally don't want to part him at a mile and a quarter, especially, given the sire, given that he's going to be, shorter price odds. Obviously, if you're playing the superfectas and stuff like that, it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and throw him in there in some of the lower spots. But for me, he's definitely staying out of the win spot. But, I would consider putting him in, third or fourth, something. Maybe he can plot along and get in there in the, superfecta. But Yeah, that's gonna bring me to my third horse, and this horse I said is not really gonna be in the top of the points leaderboard, and we're gonna get all the way down to number 16, and that's Mage. And I know he's a little low on the leaderboard, but his big performance was getting second in the Florida Derby, and honestly, it looked like at one point he was gonna get first, coming for home as Forte, was taking a minute to pick up his feet and get going. He raced in the Fountain of Youth. He didn't really, do much running there, and his horses kind of has some issues getting out of the gate, and that's what I don't like about him. I want to win the Kentucky Derby. 20 horse, a lot of bumping going on. You kind of want everything to go perfect for your horse, especially when you got, your hard-earned money on. So for me, I don't like seeing the issues that Mage has getting out of the gate. And it's made when he was, had more forward speed. And if I was a, jockey and trainer, I'd probably consider maybe trying to get back to those tactics if he can. Obviously, his horse did show that he can, make a run from off the pace as he did in the Florida Derby. Uh, but he still didn't beat Forte, and now the distance is getting a little bit further. He is by good magic and Big Brown, so obviously he's got some distance in his pedigree. So I'm not too worried about the mile and a quarter. It's just it's still this horse is only his fourth lifetime start in the Derby. It's kind of obvious watching the replay. There's talent there, but he's still figuring it out. And if you think about the history of the Kentucky Derby, horses that are still technically at figuring out stage and not always really fared well as their problems tend to get exposed when you got that many horses, that much bumping going on, that much, jockeying for position is, horses, if they don't get their position, that can make, all the difference in a race is, let's say like Forte was further back, in the Florida Derby and, it just shows like he wouldn't have been able to get there in time. And that's kind of what you're going to get in the Kentucky Derby. If you don't get the position you want, you're going to have to make up more ground or you risk a chance trying to save ground and get stuck behind horses, and it's just you don't have time for mistakes when it comes to your horses. And for me, I could see Mage, some of those issues flaring up in the Derby, and because I also think it's going to be a little bit over bet off that effort because a lot of people seen the same thing I've seen where like he's going to win the Florida Derby, and if they're going to say that maybe he could turn the tables this time around, maybe he made his move too quick. And I'm not. I don't think he made his move too quick. I just think that Forte is a slightly better horse. Forte went way wide, and then Forte kind of let Mage pass him, and Forte kind of got in behind and ran him down. And Forte looks like a horse that has a lot of heart. I think speed figure wise got a little bit to go to separate himself, but the horse is very smart, has some fight, and I do like that about the horse. So, for me, Mage is going to be, off my tickets. I'll definitely put him down there at third or fourth in the superfecta. But for win bet purposes, this horse won't be on there. And that's the three horses I'll be, the main contenders I'll be playing against. And thanks for watching, guys. More